Hello and welcome to Talkin Baseball Emergency Players Only ep. Luis Castillo to your Seattle Mariners. Holy smokes! What is going on, everybody? And welcome.
No. You sound like the ocean crashing into the sand right now. What's going on? Is that just me?
No, I hear that too, and I hate it. Now it's gone, right?
There we go.
Sounds all right.
All right. That
Right.
sounded like white noise, like I was going to sleep.
Hello.
Check out my uppercut swing.
Oh my God, guys, I'm sorry about Trevor Plouffe. He's excited because the trade deadline is going. John Boy is at a family party, but he sent us his notes, producer BBD and myself, Jake Stromboli, and we had the first big trade, potentially the biggest trade of the trade deadline. We don't know. Luis Castillo goes to the Seattle Mariners. We stumbled into it a little bit yesterday. The Mariners have been playing good baseball. They're a top 4 team in the AL. You could say they're a top 3 team in the AL, and they go out and get a big arm. Trev, how are you doing, Big Poppy?
This trade comes in last night, and immediately I think of, man, do I have to sit here and just beg for forgiveness from Seattle fans? We all know my history with Seattle. It hasn't been great, to be honest with you. I left the Seahawks in the dust. I said, Russ, I love you, bro, but I got to change to the Rams, my boy Matthew Stafford. Then I see Mike Trout murder the Mariners, so I pronounce him dead. We've had a contentious relationship, but man, I'm excited for Mariners fans. I used to say Seattle was my favorite road ballpark, favorite road city. So there is a little bit of love there. But the way they are making noise in the American leagues got me fired up. I don't think I'm going to ask for forgiveness. I'm just going to pump the gas a little bit for the people of Seattle, if you know what I mean.
You're just gassing.
I'm gassing them up.
Babes, how are you doing, Big Daddy? Deadline guy brought home the recording materials because he's different. What's up, dude?
I'm good. Made a quick studio in my, I guess you would call this room a kitchen in my apartment. And hopefully the stream's good and everyone's happy with how it looks.
BBD live from his sex cave. Trev, let's talk about the trade. And that's brought to us by Shady Rays. Code Talkin, 50% off 2+ pairs of premium polarized shades. I've got mine. Just came from the indoor driving range. Whoops. Summer's here. You're going to need sunglasses. Code Talkin, 50% off. And go watch JM Warehouse. Our floorball tournament is probably the best thing we've ever made at this company. Trev and the boys just ripped it up last game. No spoilers. No spoilers. Trevor, I will kick it to you first. The Seattle Mariners traded for Luis Castillo 4 prospects. One seems to be the big fish, Noel V. Marte, young shortstop prospect. And then a group of other guys. I think it's 4 of their top 5 prospects from Seattle. That means a lot of different things for a lot of different teams. We'll probably get there a little later because let's be honest, that's not our sweet spot. Luis Castillo to the Mariners, Trev. What were your initial thoughts and where do you sit now?
I loved it. I figured Seattle was going to be big in this trade deadline, whether it was a Castillo, whether it was a Soto, whether it was a Montas or, they were going to go do something. We understand what the GM there likes to do, but a guy like Castillo, I mean, we talk about it all the time on our show. You can never have enough pitching, and they already had a pretty solid rotation, but getting him over here is now, he's got to be your one, right? Line him up in a playoff series. This is your ace now. You bring in a guy like that, I mean, it takes them to the next tier in terms of starting pitching. And we were kind of, checking in on some stuff, some background numbers on Castillo. He has changed the way he uses his fastball. So I started digging in on that a little bit and found some pretty cool stuff. We always talk about tunneling and, what pitchers do to tunnel and what pitches they tunnel. Usually you're talking that if you're talking tunneling, you're talking about, okay, he's got his fastball coming out of here. The slider's looking the same thing. His other off-speed pitches, whether it be a changeup or a splitter or a curveball, they're all coming out of the same spot, looking the same. And that's what you try to do as a pitcher. It makes it tough for a hitter to pick up pitches early, right out of the hand. What Luis has been able to do is tunnel 2 fastballs. So he tunnels his 4-seamer, he tunnels his sinker, and they look identical coming out of his hand, but except you got one coming here and one staying extremely flat at the top of the zone. And that's another thing he's changed this year. He's just started to throw the ball at the top of the zone much more. And that's just created this effect. So tunnel. And you have to decide now as a hitter, yeah, you see a fastball coming, but now you got to stay up at the top of the zone or you got to go down and get it with a sinker. It just makes it extremely difficult. So, I mean, he's had a great year. He's put together a great career so far. I'm excited. They needed this. I think some of the young guys in the rotation, they're probably going to have to like wind down some of the innings as the season goes on. So bringing in a guy like Luis Castillo makes all the sense in the world for Seattle. I mean, they're in it, man. They're in the thick of this thing now. And I think that if you're a Mariners fan, you understand what prospects are for, to improve your freaking major league team, whether you call them up or trade them. And they did that with this trade.
Yes. I mean, Luis Castillo is a horseman. You look at his baseball reference. He is 29 years old. He led the league and games started last year with 33. And he had a little bit of a weird year. He got off to a slow start and then he kind of bounced back. He's made 14 starts this year, a 2.86. And remember, he missed the first few weeks of the season. So he's been pitching and he's probably feeling good. 12 starts in the shortened 2020 season, 32 the year before, 31 the year before that. The guy is a horse. His career 3.62 ERA. He's been a little bit better this year, and I think in general, ERA doesn't tell the full story because this guy can dominate a game. This guy came to Yankee Stadium a few weeks ago, and he'd been on the Yankees' radar, and he dropped it. He's also got a little swag. If he punches you out for the final out of the inning, he might drop down a little more on the mound and let you know about it. And good. Baseball is fun. 2-time All-Star, including this year. And yeah, I do think the one thing Mariners would say, maybe this guy's year one. Let's see how he looks in Seattle. Robbie Ray might have a good argument there too, coming off the Cy Young year and settling in. But either way, there's a lefty righty punch for you. And whenever I talk about this guy, Logan Gilbert, I call him a mini Glass now. When he's right, that's kind of what it looks like to me. I think right now that's their 1, 2, 3. Marco Gonzalez has been so solid for them for a bunch of years. And if he needs to get a playoff start, I think you're okay with that. But also George Kirby, Matt Brash was exciting early this year. And we know one of John Boy's favorite things is when the playoffs come around, basically every team in recent history has had a starting pitcher or two kick out to the bullpen and give teams effort from there because that's where you need it. And man, if one of those young guys ends up kicking to Seattle's bullpen and they can kind of tick up and be a 2-inning weapon or something like that, and you're right with the inning limits too, it's kind of a proven formula in recent years of baseball that you have to love it for Seattle. They brought themselves back into the season after you did declare them dead. So they're zombies. So they're kind of invincible. And this is a team that hasn't been to the playoffs in 2 decades. We have people that work at John Boy Media that haven't been alive for Seattle Mariners playoff team. So, man, when you put all that in the bucket with a beautiful stadium, a great sports city, I love that they went for it. They paid a prospect price, but like you said, they're prospects till they ain't. Know who's a guy we're not talking about on Seattle right now? Jared Kelenic, who, the Mariners fleeced the Mets, right? They got Kelenic for Diaz. Well, guess what? Edwin Diaz is having a historic closing season for the first place Mets. And Kelenic, still very young and has a great chance to be a good ball player, but he's figuring things out as a young ball player. So prospects are prospects, and you got the premier pitcher at this deadline, assuming a name we don't know goes.
Yeah, like a Rodon still has a chance to go. But here's what I think happened in Seattle, and maybe not, but because Dipoto was going to make a move regardless. 5 of the last 8 games you played the Houston Astros, and you've lost all 5 of those against that team. So what you're up against. The division's not there for them anymore. I mean, gosh, I say that, clip this, they'll probably win the division. The division's not there anymore, okay? So, but the playoffs come around, you have to go through Houston, you have to go through the Yankees. They knew they needed a significant roster upgrade, and they went out and did it with their rotation. I mean, you go up. I have a Bob Nightingale tweet. I had to fact check it because you know how that goes. They're 17-0 since July 2nd against teams not named the Houston Astros. They're 0-5 against the Astros this month. They've seen Verlander like 6 times. They understand what it means to have a dominant ace going up against you. So they went out and got a guy that's going to be their ace. And I like it. I don't think they're done.
No, and that's I guess that's the interesting next part of this. Carlos Santana has been playing solid baseball for them, and they went out and got him a couple weeks ago. Even going back to the offseason, man, Eugenio Suarez and Jesse Winker, man, like those are massive moves. And there's an argument their best player coming into this season before Julio Rodriguez
Mike
kind
Moustakas.
of announced themselves, Mike Moustakas, Malibu Mike. No, it's got me. Dude, it's Mitch Haniger. Mitch Haniger, I mean, go check out his Baseball Reference. That's a guy. That's a dude who now he's rehabbing in the minor leagues. So I think that's the interesting next move for the Mariners. Did they get Luis Castillo? That's their deadline move, and they're going to, when Mitch Haniger comes back, that's almost another deadline, a fake deadline acquisition in their heads. Or, I got yelled at for throwing Wilson Contreras out there. Sorry, Cal Raleigh, a nice young catcher, but I think Willie's a little more intimidating in the lineup. But hey, catchers are catchers. If you like your guy, you like your guy. Do you think if you're Jerry Dipoto, and I know you like playing that game,
yeah,
you think they got more in them? Pitching,
bro.
Okay.
Like, go get me some bullpen guys. I don't care how good your bullpen is. I don't care how many guys you think you can run out there in the back end of your bullpen. Go get some more. That's just how the playoffs work, man. You can never have enough freaking pitching. But honestly, I think that's it. I don't think they need to do anything else. Go ahead and get somebody else in the back end of the bullpen, and it doesn't have to be some crazy expensive person. I love David Robertson. I want him to go somewhere. This is a guy that's pitched in big games before. Like, he just doesn't get hit. Like, he's one of those freaking guys. Go get somebody like that. He's not done. He's never done. The work is never done for old Dipoto. I respect that. That's like me and you.
Man, this Mariners roster, man, if this is a franchise that hasn't had a ton of success. Like, I mean, they haven't been to the playoffs since 2001, I believe. So they have a lot of talent on this team, and maybe this Luis Castillo trade kind of gets them the respect they deserve. I know we talk about JP Crawford a lot and who he is. They have a lineup. Ty France is so good at baseball. There's some names in their pen. Seawald has been great for them. Andres Munoz can chuck it. Interested to see what Diego Castillo and Ken Giles are banged up right now. Remember Ken Giles? But you're right. You can never have enough pitching, and Dipoto is kind of the number one GM that will make moves. So I'm expecting them to be involved more. Pitching side probably makes sense. I'm just saying, if Willie Contreras did break for this team, I would be a little juiced up to send it back in their faces a little bit, but they may not need it. Cal Raleigh's a solid, good young ball player. I guess where do you want to continue with Mariners? Do you want to talk about the other teams that were in the Castillo sweepstakes?
I'm going through some team stats now. Like the Mariners runs per game, not hot. 4 runs per game, as opposed to the Yankees, who are averaging 5.3 runs per game. Is that ballpark related? Maybe a little bit. I don't know. So maybe some offensive upgrade. I don't know. It could be a bench bat. It could be. There's a lot of things to do. Okay. I honestly believe you're never done as a GM. Like, you can never, like, look at these teams. The Houston Astros are looking to add right now. All we ever talk about is how deep the Houston Astros roster is. They're going to go get Josh Bell probably. They might go get Wilson Contreras, although people are saying they only want to back up and they want to leave Maldonado there, whatever. I want to say one more thing about Castillo. I think he might be better there in Seattle, going from pitching in Cincinnati, which is like one of the worst ballparks to pitch in with a sloppy defense. He now goes to Seattle, who has an above average defense, and he's pitching in an above average pitcher's park. So you can look at his numbers now and you can dream about them being even better down the stretch.
And dude, the other thing, like, these guys are the alpha competitors of alpha competitors in the world. Like Luis Castillo jumping into a playoff race. Like, you don't think that's going to get his juices going more? You're right. Going from a hitter's park to a pitcher's park. I mean, I wouldn't, if you had to bet against him being better or worse, I think it's easy better. That division hasn't seen him.
And he's got teammates there. So this isn't just like a random, like, hey, I got to go meet all these new dudes, which can be, look, we forget about the human element of these trades all the time. You're picking up in the middle of the season. He's been in Cincinnati for a long time, doesn't live there in the off season, I don't think. But that's essentially his second home. He's very comfortable, understands the city and all that comes along with it. Now he's got to move across to Seattle. And what helps is if you have guys there that we're in the same situation as you. So we can go to Suarez, he can go to Winker and be like, hey man, like, where should I live? Like, help me out. Like, it's just he's going to be comfortable there and quickly. And that doesn't always happen with trades. Sometimes, man, like he's been expected to be traded too. So mentally he's been prepared for this. Sometimes when things happen out of the blue, you get guys going to new teams and just not feeling comfortable right away in their surroundings. But I believe because he's got his boys over there and he's been expecting this, he's going to be comfortable there, man. And the first game he's going to have to throw. Yeah. It's your Yanks, baby.
Yeah. And maybe that's where we'll head. And that's, it ties into all this. Joe's McFly just tried to FaceTime me, which messed up my whole computer for a little bit. Man, yeah, he's lined up to face the Yanks his first start. The Yankees were supposedly in on Luis Castillo, the Dodgers, a lot of teams. And the other thing we haven't mentioned that ties into every team that was talking to him, there was a wild card that was mentioned, the Texas Rangers, because Luis Castillo is a 1.5 guy. And we've talked about it a lot on Talking Baseball. And this was something Jimmy wanted us to drive home, is that, man, you get Luis Castillo for this postseason run, and you'll have him next year. So, like we mentioned, and we'll get to the Mariners prospects and the red side of this a little later, but the Mariners are in a little window right now. Julio Rodriguez has broken out and become one of the best players in baseball. You have a lot of young pitching. You signed Robbie Ray. You got a lot of young talent on offense. So you just got Luis Castillo for now 2 October runs, hopefully, which, man, that is awesome. So, the New York Yankees, me, BBD, our Yankee fans. When the Yankees traded for Benintendi, it was like, ooh, okay, so there's a slightly more chance we're out on Soto. I'm not ruling it out because I'm a sicko. But Benintendi and Luis Castillo and maybe a bullpen guy, that was kind of the dream. And Yankee fans were starting to talk themselves into that. He's off the board for them. Yankee fans are reeling a little bit right now because Luis Castillo was the best pitcher on the market. There's probably an argument for Frankie Montas, depending how he looks the rest of the way. Talented pitcher. And then, there's the wild cards. Is a Pablo Lopez or someone like that actually on the table? We'll find out in a few days. I don't think so. But we heard the Texas Rangers were in on Luis Castillo, which if you're a Rangers fan and this is what John Boy wanted to pass on, you got to feel good about that. That means the Texas Rangers feel like they have a chance next year to do something, which put a little asterisk there. They might be exciting again this offseason after just signing Simeon, Seager, Jack Leiter on his way. But I guess for the big dogs involved, Dodgers, Yankees, any really big contender this year. Does this raise a yellow flag for you at all for the Yankees or the Dodgers at all? Or, they have so much talent anyways that let's see what else happens.
I think the price tag probably scared them away a little bit as they're seeing the offers, because in my mind, they're probably, look, obviously you want Luis Castillo on your team. If you're the Dodgers, the Yankees, whoever, all these, teams that we're putting in the top tier here. But there's other guys available that are kind of pure rentals. They're going to cost less. I think maybe they've shifted focus to that. The Dodgers have had to give up some prospects recently to get Turner, to get Scherzer. And I think maybe they're looking that route instead, where, we have our guys. Like Gonsolin has established himself as a force. We haven't even had Dustin May. Okay. We have Bobby Miller, my fucking guy, waiting in the wing. So like, would we like Luis Castillo for this year, next year? Sure. But I think we're going to look in-house to fill some of those rotation spots. And we can get a rental for this year as Walker Buehler is still coming back. I think they've probably focused more on that side of it, where they don't have to give up prospect capital to acquire for a position that they already have depth in. Do you know what I mean? Like they already have a lot of starters that they can rely on, plus guys coming back from injury, guys that are in the high end of their minor league. So like, maybe we don't need to create a logjam there just yet. And we can save our prospect capital to go after things of, different needs. Or our lineup, maybe our bullpen is probably where they're going to look, the Dodgers at least. For the Yankees, I really think he really fits more with the Yankees than the Dodgers. I think the Dodgers have more starting pitching depth than the Yankees do, especially at the top end of their minor leagues. And like I said, kind of like the back end of the rotation. So as a Yankee fan, I'm definitely a little bit disappointed. I mean, if I was a Yankees fan. Freudian slip there. Maybe I'm just a huge Yankee fan undercover.
Wow. I really like that. Yeah, man, that's and I mean, I don't even think you mentioned Dustin May there. Like the Dodgers find a way.
I did.
Okay. I wasn't listening during that part. John just texted saying he might be able to join for the last 5 minutes unless it's too much tech. So I don't know. I'll put that in BBD's hands. I know we're wrestling it a little bit, but love some John. Yeah, man. And the price tag, I've been skipping over that a little bit. Prospects are prospects. Noelvi Marte, for those that are MLB The Show guys, Trev, they know him. He's a kid that gets some love on there. 20-year-old shortstop prospect. He's currently ripping up high A, I believe. Home power, steals. The question always with shortstop is the defense. Will he stay there? We'll see. I mean, he's what he's doing at that level. He's got a chance to be a legit one. He was the number one prospect in their organization. He is going to the Reds. The shortstop position there has been a problem for a little bit now. Can he be the future, and how soon? I think those are the questions in Reds lands. And, they get a couple more legitimate prospects, and that's Reds fans, hey, rooting for you. They from what I saw from Reds fans, they got a haul. You hear a lot of rumors, and you mentioned the Dodgers, the Yankees. A lot of these teams have their limits on what they're going to offer for a year and a half and a guy. It felt like the Mariners had a little bit of that 20-year drought desperation to get the best pitcher on the market. And again, we're fine with that. They're prospects. This not to be rude, but this could be the last time you really hear about a couple of these guys. I hope it's not. I'm rooting for, Reds fans to come out in a couple years and be happy that they traded a guy that was a stud for them for a while. But, Arroyo's a prospect who's 18 years old. Reading the scouting report, Glove gives him a high floor. So we'll see what goes on there. Stout is a 24-year-old.
High ceilings are out, bro. High floor is just
high floor. 24-year-old small right-hander. So Stout being small, I like that. And then Moore is a 22-year-old reliever who supposedly has the high-end stuff that one day can be a back-end guy for you. But again, a lot of moving parts, a lot of stuff that can happen in those years.
It's
just look. Go ahead, BBD.
It's honestly impossible to know what anybody is, but the Reds, those three guys they got are now on MLB.com. They're number 1, number 6, and number 15 prospects. So on paper value, it's probably hard to do much better than that.
I'm looking at Noelvi Marte, and everyone in our chat saying he's not a shortstop, bro. He's never going to make. And I was like, why are they saying that? And I went to Baseball Reference. Got a 918 fielding percentage right now, 24 errors. Like I've been there, bro. So probably going to move off shortstop, probably going to be third baseman. Doesn't really matter. Does that really matter that much, people? If the guy can bang, he can bang.
Yes.
We know that.
And the minor leagues are the minor leagues. You know, Derek Jeter had 56 errors one year.
Yeah, because you're playing on a fucking asphalt parking lot ass fields, man. It's horrible. Shut my confidence down playing in the minor leagues. I promise you that he's going to be okay.
So high T. Speaking of high T,
oh,
Jimmy
gosh.
O'Brien, John Boy, how you doing? My good friend. Big day over there.
I'm doing great. I love this setup. It's just Zoom.
Yeah, there's no lag.
Streamlabs.
I can see all of you. This is amazing.
Our state-of-the-art Manhattan freaking office can't do this, but we can.
I listened to every word you guys have said because I was walking James. He fell asleep, so I figured I can just join now. I can just join now. My one, I like the move from both sides. I texted you guys that because I don't like that the Reds traded Winker and like decided to sell way back when. But once you do that, you have to trade Castillo and then go find the team that's a little more desperate that's going to overpay. And I think they got the biggest package they can get. But if you're Seattle, I think you need like a spin zone angel in the room. All the GMs like, hey, should we really do this? Should we add these minor leaguers? And I think I want that to be my job. And I think you say Kyle Lewis won Rookie of the Year. Julio is a first name only baseball player. You know, Gilbert is a stud. Like, let's not get greedy.
You could say Gilbert alone too, I think. Who else is Gilbert in the big leagues? So I like that. Just run with that, James.
Sure. Yeah. So like those are all homegrown prospects that have like panned out. You're not going to get more. You think you're going to have 4? The Dodgers? It's not going to happen. So trade these guys. They're automatic busts.
Oh my God.
No, I don't mean that, but I'm saying you've utilized your minor leagues to get major league talent. And when you have 4 that are like stabilized and good, then you trade the next batch to help out the 4 that made it. So I like it.
I agree. Like from like a payroll standpoint, that's what you're looking at. And a lot of these teams obviously care about that very much. When you do have, like you said, James, a bunch of guys who you've grown and they're all pre-arb or right in the thick of arb, like you now, that's when you can get rid of the rest of your prospects because you have cost control players. You can go get those. You can go give those extra prospects away to supplement your roster because guess what? It's all about the big leagues. No one cares about the minor leagues. I don't care about your winning percentage in the minor leagues. The only reason we care about that is because it means you have good players and we can go supplement the roster to end your playoff drought. I mean, they had to do this. They did a good job. I still, look, Mariners fans already just, I think they do like me because I've admitted how wrong I was, but
they still think I hate them for no reason at all.
Well, you hate every fan base. We all know that, James. Mariners fans, be honest in this chat. There's a lot of them in here right now. Do you have what it takes to beat the Astros? Who you 5 of your last 8 games, or you've played them 5 times your last 8 games and lost all 5 to them.
But
like,
I guess
look at yourself in the mirror, can Castillo take you over that hump?
I guess my counter would be, Trev, Yankees fans are greedy assholes. We only care about World Series. We don't care about CS exits or DS exits. Astros fans probably the same way at this point because they've made the CS in the World Series 7 out of the last 5 years, basically. So Mariners fans, like you said, no one's seen them in the playoffs. And they got Castillo for 2 years, and they have Marco locked up and Ray locked up and all this team locked up. So I wouldn't put the basis for success as beating the Astros this year. I would just say like, it's a different, it's a different thing. Like officially open the window is the goal. Cause you've built the team exactly how like a GM class would tell you to. Get a ton of prospects, trade them for guys that you have for a bunch of years, spend big money on some guys like the former Cy Young winner, and then make trades and then call up more rookies and all that. But like, no, I don't think they're going to beat the Astros. They can, it's baseball, but I still think the Astros are much better, more complete team this season. But again, this is just like hopefully opening the window, and then next year making the playoffs isn't the big celebration. It's going deep into the playoffs.
It's not the trailer, it's the movie. Hey, let me tell you.
Don't say
something.
shit like that though. Just
Hey,
don't.
hey.
say,
Oh, what Vlad said that.
Hey.
no, I know. I'm
Dang.
saying Mariners players like don't go over your skis.
Let me tell you something about Seattle. Seattle is hot in the streets right now in the baseball world. We got playoffs coming there. It is going to be electric.
Remember
When Seattle is packed, and they and they're good. I mean, this city gets behind this team. Then we got the freaking All-Star game there next year, which we'll be at. Do we have a promo code yet? We'll have one soon, probably. And third, the World Series is going to be in Seattle next year. Market 2023 Seattle Mariners.
God,
you're
such a suck ass. The Mariners fans that don't accept that apology yet, make him apologize to you at the All-Star game. Walk up to him and say, Trevor Plouffe, apologize to me. No, Jim, I love the way you phrased that, man, because let's go back to even 2019, 2020, when we're starting to do Talking Baseball and building this up. The 2020 season, they were kind of fun. My goal was for them in like a year and a half to be the fun off-season team, like what they were trying to build for. Last year, they went full zombie mode at the end. They just refused to die. They ended up winning 90 games last year, and they stayed in it. That yes, like if you asked Mariners fans, they went 68-94 in 2019. The next year is the pandemic year. They're 27-33. If you told Mariners fans after that 2020 season that in 2022, you guys are going to be, trading assets at the deadline to get the best available starting pitcher, most likely, everyone signs up for that. And yeah, if Noelvi Marte, the 20-year-old in 4 years, is a stud for the Reds, guess what? It doesn't matter for the next 2 seasons when you guys have a really good chance to go for it, and maybe even longer than that.
How do you pronounce his name?
Noelvi?
Yeah, just straight up Noelvi. Easy.
Cool.
The Mariners signed Julio Rodriguez for $1.75 million as a 16-year-old in July of 2017.
It's a good signing.
IMO. You guys did a good job. Yeah. That's the one thing I didn't predict was Julio Rodriguez becoming a top 5 MVP player at the age of 20 years old. Or was he 21? 20?
I don't know. 21.
16.
21
man.
now.
Damn, man. I'm excited. I mean, Seattle's obviously fired up. If you're a Mariners fan, you got to be feeling good. You've been feeling good for about a month and a half now. This has got to be not the cherry on top because that ain't come yet, but you're eating right now. Nice meal.
It goes now. Montes becomes the guy. Quintana, if you want a rental, but if you want that year and a half, Montes becomes the guy. Like everyone's like, Yankees are pivoting to him. I wonder if the Rangers pivot to him because that's a little different. I think Castillo's a notch better than Montes, and at least I guess I would have to do some research. I don't know if that's wrong in my just like basic thought process. He is. So I wonder if the Rangers.
It's a discussion.
I wonder if the Rangers
Not
would
shots
pivot.
fired, but
Yeah, I didn't mean it to be shots fired. I wonder if the Rangers also are in on that, or like it was just Castillo was like, nah, he was the guy that we would do it for. But we should see the pitching market go pretty bonkers now because there's not that many starters.
Is Rodon going to be available? Like, what are the Giants doing? We know like they can offer him the qualifying offer at the end of this year. So do they value that more than what he can bring back in a trade package? Are they even going to trade anybody? Are they going to be are they adding? Are they subtracting? Because I look at this guy as like an absolute difference maker too. And I know
your
like
borderline teams just got a lot more interesting. I mean, seeing this trade package, if you've got a Rodon or you've got an Evaldi, those phone calls might have just gotten a little juicier. And we're always rooting for chaos at the deadline. That I hope so, man. Especially the Giants, like it feels so much worse than last year. Like, I don't know.
Syndergaard, he's another name that has gotten more attention recently, but he probably gets dealt. Otherwise, that is very odd.
Twins.
Yeah, he looks like a Twins guy, doesn't he? We probably pitch right to like a 4.20 ERA.
Yankees keep popping up to my head.
Does he have to cut his hair if he goes to the Yankees? They don't allow long hair.
Yeah, you can skirt it. Like Cole had longish hair. You can like get it like, shoulder length or whatever. But I don't know, with how much trouble Yankees have had in the last couple of years, guys who like admit they don't like playing in New York and the scrutiny that comes with it. Syndergaard played in New York. So it's just like that's something like and he's the perfect guy where like he can become your 2, maybe, but he can also be your go to the bullpen in the postseason because he's a rental and he can do other roles. He can come out just throw 100 miles per hour for an inning in the postseason. So that's a guy for some reason I've been thinking Yankees or Dodgers, a playoff team that isn't desperate, that has the wiggle room. Like, yeah, we could use it too, but also we can use you as like a Swiss Army knife in the postseason, which a lot of teams employ now come playoff time. So for me, Syndergaard became kind of really interesting where he goes because of that versatility that I think he brings, depending on how he looks. Like over Quintana. I don't think you're going to like, I think Quintana is like, he's going to stabilize your August and September and then maybe be like a 4 in the postseason.
Quintana, the Blue Jays confirmed.
And I don't think he's coming out of the pen in the postseason unless it's like to just like, give the rest of the bullpen a breather in a losing effort. Where Syndergaard is a rental that I think could be your 6th, 7th inning guy or your second starter. Like it's a wide range.
Maybe the other guy to boost that a little bit is also Syndergaard's owed a little bit of money. I mean, Syndergaard's got to be owed what, $7 million, something like that.
No, so, it's like eight to 9. Yeah, it's a lot of money.
So I mean, some teams, that's when you mention Dodgers or Yankees, that doesn't make them flinch as much as some of the other teams. So you wonder if that factors in too.
Yeah. Blake Y in the chat said confuse the Rangers direction for the franchise. Pretty simple, man. Next year they want Martin Perez, Leiter, Kumar, and they want a Castillo as like their 4. But they're going to go after a pitcher in the offseason.
Seems pretty obvious.
I never understand the Rangers. I've never have, bro. Just never.
They drafted their starters. They got long term.
No, that's not how it works, though. Dude, you think Leiter and freaking Kumar are gonna come up and just like be like your 3 and 4 anchors? There's no fucking way, dude. Like,
well,
if that's what they're envisioning. Yeah, they got. I know you can hope for that, but dude, I agree. Well, who said that? I don't know what the Rangers are thinking either, dude.
I know what they're thinking. It's just not a foolproof plan.
Like a pipe dream. Is that what the term is?
No, I think if you get Castillo and I would guess they spend big on pitchers this offseason.
I have a thought. If you're the Reds and you have 2 pitchers that you're going to trade, Molly, Castillo, do you think they wanted to go in that order? Like get Castillo off. We know he's going to get a substantial package back. We did it. Boom. And that now brings Molly up the ladder a little bit. So you're going to get more. Is there like a sequencing to this thing? We're like, hey, let's get rid of the best one. And that improves our other guys. So we get a better package for him as well. Is it a timing thing you think for that?
Yeah, man.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. There's a lot of things. Maybe the Mariners wanted to make a big push before he came to the Bronx. Because that Benintendi just got traded right before their series, which made it easier. And the Reds are on their way to New York. I've seen a lot of trades when GMs are in the same city.
Getting your butt kicked by the Astros, like I mentioned, had to have led Dipoto to step on the accelerator a little bit. Maybe he threw in the extra prospect or whatever. Like you're seeing what you're up against. And I know it's not just for this year. I understand that. But the Astros ain't going anywhere next year either. So like, I really believe that happens. GM's like, dude, we need something. It's like when you're a golfer and you're like when Jake, he can't break 90 yet. You need to get over that hump. Something needs to happen, dude. Like Dipoto was like, we need to get over this hump a little bit.
That's the other little Italian. I'm fine with not. I'm under 90.
Okay.
That's Casano, Nicky Cass.
He FaceTimed me
no,
twice
I mean,
yesterday. For what?
You're gonna talk shit.
I don't want to answer.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, the Yankees announced Benintendi.
Uh-oh.
Benintendi right after they
Not
got swept by the Mets.
Not a move. Ken Rosenthal did follow up on his Rangers thing, I think 30 seconds ago, tweeting, after further checking, this tweet overstated where the Rangers were on Castillo. They were in, but their offer not in the neighborhood of the Mariners or any of the other teams mentioned. They were talking,
Whatever. I mean, shout out Ken for being thorough, but we didn't need that tweet, Ken.
Yeah,
just let it lie out there.
Them being in at all.
There's a
was kind
back
of like
half
the,
saying they're on Soto, but they seem to be in the same thing where they don't expect to get him. But they've called. That's like I think that's the update in that tweet, but whatever.
You scared me with the passing button, bro.
If we didn't do the Rangers
Yeah.
discussion, I wouldn't have done it. But we were just
that
talking
needs
about
to
them.
be. That was
Yeah.
more Triceratops.
Yeah.
Well, it was
I know.
Ken. We trust him, but
We like Ken.
Well,
it's
know who
not
I
a
trust in this team. It's not
non-update.
Ken.
But
People are confused. I don't think the Rangers are like. I'm not saying they're going to be good next year. Chat's like. I'm just saying I understand that their plan.
also, all offseason, we talked about how they got Simeon and Seager on these long deals because they're like,
Long-term
ready to,
deals. Yeah,
in the next 2 or 3 years, be
they weren't.
part of the
They
picture.
were not. This year was never the plan.
We can't talk about the Rangers this much.
No.
You're going to get me all fired up.
All right.
You get me all fired up. Change your uniforms. I hate your uniforms. I hate them. I never looked worse in a uniform.
Number
What else we got,
80,
guys? What else
Trevor
we got?
Plouffe.
Oh, no. Who's next?
Hmm.
Yankees, what the hell are you doing? Is Soto like Otani's not going to get traded, right? I think we're all agreed on that. Not this. Not
Yes.
It would be
I
the
don't- I
biggest
don't-
shock in a long time.
Yeah, I don't think Otani's getting traded. Who's next is whatever team gets swept next. No, we're too close to that. So
I mean, Montes, he's got to go.
Yeah.
It's the A's. It's got to be Montes.
it's Montes, and also they have a blueprint for a package now. Like a little less than that because you're the A's. No one cares about you.
Wait, timeout.
Uh-oh.
Tyler Molly, who could also be traded, his Instagram handle is Malibu's Most Wanted, but with his last name as Malibu.
I mean, and he's teammates with Moose. What's going on here? Is there a Malibu fight?
Okay, so Molly and Moose to the Dodgers.
Doing it, Biggio.
Okay.
That's so good.
Oh, man. Where are we at? What are we doing here? Saturday morning.
Wrap
I
it.
love it. I love it, guys.
Yeah.
We're working hard.
Got to go help finish setting up my sip and see.
Okay.
Love that.
Have fun.
I will. It's hot. It's too hot.
We'll be back on the sticks if another trade goes down, right? Like we're just on call.
Yeah.
We're
Another
on
trade's
call.
going to go down today.
100%.
Just
I got a
not
lot of
between
stuff to
12
do.
and 4.
No,
Not
my
between
We'll see if
12
it's
and 4.
emergency
my
worthy.
party starts at 4 actually, so not between
Oh,
like 4 and
shit.
9. Yeah,
I told Passon and Curry not 12 to 4, dude.
I know. Dude, I found out yesterday, and it was maybe the worst question I could have possibly asked the party that we're throwing at our house and been planning for 3 months. What time's it start again? So,
Hmm.
I'm sure
Yeah.
Katie loved that one.
the follow up, I thought it was noon. It was not. People weren't happy.
People didn't like that.
Didn't like that.
No. All right.
All right, let's all say where Montas is going on 3, and then we'll end the show. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Dodgers.
Yeah.
Raiders.
Raiders.
Success.
Jake sucks.